welcome back. I hope that you're ready.
We got some Mo.
Man, we have some Momo. Some Momo. And for y'all that don't know, last week we dropped the first half of that SteveMo episode. This week we're bringing you the second half. And Steve got a bunch more nuggets that he's going to give us around Salesforce, his experience. So be sure to tune in. Drop those comments. If you hadn't subscribed already, please be sure to do so. That way you're notified when Ted and I drop some more episodes about our Salesforce saga. So
That's right,
see
let's
you
do
on
it.
the episode.
Enjoy the show.
You have that moment where it's like, this is something. It's like, it almost was like, it feels like they, like I remember like working, I was still very much had like one foot in Lotus Domino at the time, but it was like I was doing something in Salesforce. Just like, it feels like they took this and that and this other thing and this other system I worked on and that other system, and they figured it all out and they put it in the cloud. Whatever this cloud thing is, like I'm still trying to figure out what the cloud was at that point. Like I was like, they solved this problem, they solved this problem, they solved that problem, and I forget when it was, but I had that moment where just like it hit me. Like I think for a lot of people, they're in setup and config and they do something, and it just
for me, I was like. I'm like, I'm not a techie guy, and I'm like, I think I understand what like multi-tenant architecture means. If they can explain that to me and I get it, like they're onto something, you know, like. But Jay, like you're the newest to the Salesforce world. Have you even had that moment? I know your wife, Lakeisha, she has a job in the industry, so to speak, in the Salesforce world. Has she had that moment? Have you guys talked about that?
So for me, I'm gonna jump back to Steve's question about the Thanksgiving thing, right? And Ted, you kind of answered it. They say, so you work for Salesforce? I just say, ask my wife. just ask my wife. I work for whoever she says I work for. You go ask her, But that moment, it's pretty cool. I kind of have to see. I think it's more about the way that they've structured and positioned it and simplified a lot of those typically more complex concepts to where someone new coming in, even if you don't have, say, an RDBMS, a programming background, can pick up on those concepts and apply them in a way that doesn't require you to sit down with a Linux book this thick or a SQL book this thick and, all right, I need to learn how to code this or code that. They have no code and low code options. So someone can come in, trailhead that thing, and become an admin without ever writing a single script or piece of code.
I just did something today, just for shits and giggles. I just I set up a report snapshot. It's with this old little known feature, but it allows you to record changes over time and make it, and it's reportable. But one of the components of it is you got to set up a custom object that your snapshot data is going to get written to.
Gotcha.
And on this custom object, you've got to have every field that you want to report on. You've got to have a landing spot for all this stuff.
Right.
And you then fill up these fields and create these records using a report. So your report will run once a week or once a month or as often as you want to take your snapshot data, and then you can report any snapshots. But you got to create this custom object first. And so it's like, well, it's a report is what's going to be feeding this thing. So I created the report that had all the fields on it that I wanted to record. And then I just dumped it I exported the report to a CSV file and just stripped off everything except the header. So just the header. And then I used Salesforce got this little feature. It's not, I wouldn't call it new, but it's new-ish, where you can load in an Excel spreadsheet or a CSV file and use that to define a custom object. Like in the object manager, when you click create new object,
Yeah.
You've got the option to just load in a CSV file as your object definition with all your fields and all your field labels,
and then it just does it all for you.
And you just pick what the data type is. Yep, this one's a date, this one's a pick list, this one's text, this one's like, check, like. And so I use the report to define what my custom object that I'm going to be recording it on. It's like took like 5 minutes.
And you didn't miss anything because you had it all.
Exactly. Yeah. And everything matches. And so when I went to do my report snapshot mapping, the mapping was a breeze because all the field labels were the field, the field labels and column headers were all identical matches.
Well, cool. And you talked about this report that you created pretty much capturing data over time, right?
Yeah.
Typically, when I hear data over time, I always think analytics, data and analytics, right? I'm looking at trending data, seeing what's happening over time. Now, with that, of course, everyone on the planet who has a screen or anything you've heard, everyone's pretty much caught up in the AI craze right now, the generative AI, right? Your Chat GPT and the different, some of the other ones that does things with images and things like that. So across several industries, they're looking to implement this stuff, right? As knowledge agents, as pretty much kind of customer help agents for some of the more, I guess, less complex type questions that a customer may call in and have. Where do you see, say, something like a Chat GPT landing, say, in Salesforce? Like, what role do you see that type of technology taking on?
For users, I could certainly see it helping them build a report because I know that that's something that, for the users, a lot of them, they don't have that understanding of the object relationships and stuff like that. So and that's the one thing, I love the report builder. I always have. Cool thing about report builder is, and I tell this to my users, you can't break anything with a report. The worst thing you can do with a report is have incorrectly structured filter criteria, and so the results might be misleading, but you can't break anything with a report. So if you just play around with the report builder, you're not going to break anything. But that being said, you can, it's cool because it's you can have a report that has the look and feel that you want. All the fields are lined up the way you want, the report groupings, and you can just tweak the filter criteria to be more restrictive. I only want to see this quarter, or I want to see the last 3 fiscal years or stuff like that. Or you can change the chart on it. But the one thing you cannot change in a report is the objects that are in that report. If you picked the wrong type when you created that report, you can't fix that. You've got to create it. If you forgot to include the opportunity product, if you picked just an opportunity report, you can't click edit on that report and drag in. So understanding the objects, where those fields that you want to have are. I think that ChatGPT could help the basic user who needs a report, get them on that guided path for I want to see, whether it's they're, just typing in, I want to see product sales for the last two months or something like that. ChatGPT would know, all right, I got to go. I need an opportunities with product line items report. And the date, the date range is either going to be created date last 2 months or close date last 2 months. And it's going to have, obviously the account, opportunity name, close date, stage, dollar amount, product name. It'll assemble that report for them.
Right.
For the admin,
because Steve, they've added that. They've added on the report builder screen, they have added some cool recent features where you can see what object it's connected to and even do a field lookup.
Yeah, it shows you this report type that you've just picked includes these objects. And that's big. That's big.
It is big. But you said something in your reply about the common user and stuff. And I think sometimes that is a little too deep for the common user. That might be good for the admin or the super user that's doing some due diligence and wants to make sure they got the right one. But for your average user that is doing it once every couple months, they probably are skipping right over that sort of stuff, I think.
Exactly.
So,
they probably don't even know that information is there on that little tiny pop-up.
Right.
So something like ChatGPT could certainly be of use there. I actually think that, as an admin or developer, it would be really helpful to us to document stuff, because you know how much we love just writing about the things that we do.
No, look, no developer likes commenting code. Let's just throw it out there. If you've ever behind a developer,
that is a thing. Like if you had a ChatGPT assistant or something like that, like in Flow Builder, or in Approval Process Builder, or in Lead Assignment Rule, or Case Assignment Rule, something like that could, because you know what I mean. And think about it. Like a big thing about ChatGPT and all these things is you got to give it the right information for it to have a chance to give you back the right, accurate answer. Well, a lot of those things in a lead assignment rule, case assignment rule, approval process, flow, they are structured, they are defined. So in theory, ChatGPT should be able to pass out those pieces of information, go through it, and write up a synopsis of what this step is doing, what that step is doing, in theory.
Right. Yeah.
And I think, it reminds me of what you guys were saying earlier about not testing in production and being aware of what it is that you've put together and how it works. That would be a natural extension to a ChatGPT, verbally being able to say, this is what I want done. And then it could then process in a way to say, well, if I fully acted, this is what I would do, and then actually give you some real examples without it actually happening. That would be pretty wild. Kind of like even if it wasn't at the admin level, if it was at the user level, where it's Mark has lost any opportunity that's doesn't have an activity and is more than 90 days, past the sale date. And then instead of acting, it actually returned a query of what it would actually do. And then you could see it and kind of approve it and be like, yeah, that's it. And then and then that would be the next step. And you kind of go, man,
that is some pretty cool use cases.
Yeah. Now, you've said don't test in production or don't do anything in production. It's true. But
he say it's true, but anytime you hear but, that means the person is about to break the rule.
I don't know if a lot of admins are aware of this, but the connection between production and sandbox can be bidirectional. So just if you got an urgent call from someone and they needed something right away in production, and so if you went into production and did it, but you got some stuff in development and sandbox, and you don't want to do a full-on sandbox refresh, you can actually create a change set in production and push it down to sandbox to take that one little widget you built and push it down to sandbox so your sandbox will be a mirror image of production.
Y'all heard the emphasis on certain words, but and if.
Not that I've ever done anything like that, but
right. So in other words, when you say that you shouldn't do this, but if you do,
I guess it.
That used to be one of my go-to responses when in the Answers community, when somebody was looking for something or their users were looking for something, and it was just a bad idea. It was just no, you you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't. No. Well, yes, you can, but I'm telling you, you shouldn't. It's not impossible. It's it is technologically possible. but there's, and so I would finally, my final like comment on the matter would always be this little tiny like 30-second YouTube clip from the movie Reservoir Dogs of Michael Madsen as Mr. Blonde explaining why he shot every single person in the jewelry store that they robbed. And he said, I told them not to touch the alarm and they didn't. If they hadn't done what I told them not to do, they'd still be alive.
If they hadn't done what I told them not to do, they'd still be alive.
That's I'm telling you not to do this. I'm pleading with you, don't do this. So but look, if they hadn't done what I told them not to do, they'd still be alive.
And you mentioned the answers community, right? At the beginning, I mentioned that you've answered an astronomical number of questions and helped an astronomical number of folks. What's the roundabout number?
I cracked 100,000 answers posted. Now it's not like questions answered, because like sometimes the questions, there's a bit of back and forth before you finally get to that solution, if there is one. But yeah, like 100,000 answers posted, and like 10 or 11,000 have been marked as like the solution or the best answer.
Okay.
So
wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that incredible?
I'm just old. I've just been doing this a long time.
I'm gonna give you some games. So next time someone asks you that question, rather than saying 100,000, I know that's the proper way to say it. Say 100,000. Say I write 100,000 of them things in the answer.
either that, or I'm a huge fan. I think a woefully underappreciated candy bar is the $100,000 bar.
Yep.
I mean, it's got chocolate, got caramel, got Rice Krispies. I mean, that thing is bringing like its A game to the dance. Like, I think maybe I'll just keep one of them in my pocket. Like, how many questions? I don't know, but I just feel. Let me think about that.
Just keep the wrapper. Don't even keep the candy bar on. And put it down like it's an offer they can't refuse. And just slide it across the desk.
I'm feeling a T-shirt. Right?
I'm not in the ecosystem, but I'm in the ecosystem. If that makes sense.
I'm repping my trailhead from. I think this was Dreamforce 19. This was in the so. It's not just a trailhead T-shirt though. They actually gave us these at Dreamforce 2019 when you staffed the booth in the.
Right.
In the Answers community.
Was it? Expert. No.
I always wear it when we go to trivia night. I got my expert T-shirt on. I'm like, I used to joke that like I would put I would put one of my trailhead expert T-shirts on whenever I was doing any kind of project around the house. I was like, wait a minute. I'm using the circular, so I should put my expert T-shirt on.
I'm scared to put mine on because my luck, I'll fall off the ladder. But with that being said, I know we've been on for quite some time. So Steve, last one. What is some advice that you would give, say, someone like me who is not in the ecosystem, but I've taken on a challenge to, take Salesforce head on, get certified as an admin and some of the other certs, but I'm currently not in a role I'm not currently in an official role that leverages, say, Salesforce.
Get a developer org. I mean, probably Salesforce has done an incredible job setting us up for success with, the Trailblazer community, Trailhead. But way before there was Trailhead, I mean, this was like, I actually got that, I think it was established 2014. Like, I mean, I was doing Salesforce for 11 years before there was a Trailhead. Way before that, they gave out the free developer edition org, like a fully functional Salesforce org that's yours. to keep and do anything you want with. I mean, now they call them trailhead playgrounds, but they're still out there. You can still get one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's where I really, really, I love to tinker with things. I always have. Like when my parents went away for like the night or something like that, I would grab like a toaster and take it apart and try and put it back together again before they got home. And then sometimes they came home early and I didn't have it all back together again. So I just like shove all the parts in the metal box of the toaster and hope that nobody wanted toast for breakfast the next day. I'd be the first one down at the kitchen table. Boy, Ma, some pancakes sound awesome, don't they? Huh? Yeah, pancakes. Like, pushing the pancakes and nobody else wants toast. Because that thing's gonna first in the flames. But I tinkered. I just pushed it. I twisted it. That's where I like learned like where all these relationships went.
Mm-hmm.
Where the dead ends were, like you cannot get from account to opportunity to this to that. Like you can't get to case from there. Okay, how can I get to case? Like where do these paths lead? And then like I remember at one point I just I was playing around with this thing so much that in my dev org, my account, contact, opportunity, lead, and case objects were a shit show. They had all these custom fields that I had created for this crazy idea, that crazy idea, this other crazy idea. And then finally, like one day I said, I gotta, clean this stuff up because it's like I can't even like tell like what an account looks like anymore. So I ended up creating a custom object and I just called it test. And on this custom object, I created 4 of every type of field that you can possibly have in Salesforce. It's got 4 pick lists. It's got 4 checkboxes. It's got 4 multi-select pick list fields. It's got rich text, long text, text area, text, plain text, date, time, formula date, time. When time became a data type, I added 4 time fields. And I just 4 of every type of formula field that you can have. And I just play around with them to do like I'm not like our dog passed last year, but I would be walking our dog, Mr. Brown, and I would just my mind, the way my mind works, I would just wonder one morning, I'll never forget, I just wondered to myself, could you nest a case function inside of another case function in a formula? I don't know. And when I got home, I was fired up my dev org, and I was like, let's see if this thing can pass syntax check. It does. Okay. Let's see what this thing gives me for a result. And it does. And it actually is a little trick that you can use it. If you've got multiple fields that you need to search all the values in this field, but if you don't find the value you're looking for, but you've got another pick list field, and it doesn't have to be a pick list field, but if you go through this field and don't find what you're looking for, you want to look through another field and another field. You can nest case statements inside of one another. I didn't know you could do that until I figured out. I just threw it against the wall and it stuck. And then actually later, somebody actually posted a question on the Answers community. They had 2 address blocks, and if either one of them contained a country that was in the European Union, something else had to happen. A checkbox would get checked or something would happen. And I was like, well, I couldn't write one just motherfucker of like a nested if statement, because like if country equals UK, if country equals DE, if country equals ES, IT, all the different members, and then do the same thing again. If. I was like, wait a minute. Case country pick list field 1 has this list of values. Country, or if not, country pick list 2 has that list of values. Okay, it's in the European Union. Otherwise, it's not. It's just like so like I yeah, I think like if you do nothing else, get a free dev org and turn it into your workshop, your mad scientist's laboratory, and just play around with it. Like, I mean, especially like, and like this came up the other day. It's like, like if you don't have a job in the ecosystem, but you want to, a great way to get like pseudo hands-on experience is taking a crack at the questions that are posted in the answers community, because those questions are coming from real world admins. They're getting asked to do this by real world users. And if you can solve a real world question in the answers community, like I tell people, like, if I found myself in the job market, my Trailblazer profile, that's part of my resume. That's part of my portfolio. Those questions I've answered, that's in my resume. That's in my portfolio. My dev org, the things I've built. If I'm in an interview, I'm bringing my laptop and I'm firing up that dev org that I've had since 2004, and I'm showing them the stuff I built. Not all the crap, but I'm showing them stuff like years ago, I got asked to build no budget, no BI, no Tableau wasn't even a thing, and there was no budget. Even if there was a Tableau, there was no budget for a BI tool. And they wanted me to build reports and dashboards that would show our sales pipeline and our goal or quota attainment in a native, out-of-the-box Salesforce report. So played around with it a little bit. First thought that came to my head was like, okay, these quota things, I'll do a custom object, and it will have the dollar amount, the date that the quota falls in, this year, next year, this quarter, next quarter, whatever. But then I hit the limitation. You can't have like an opportunity report that also includes the products, but then also connected to this quota object. You reach that fork in the road in the report builder. All right, you want this object? Say goodbye to that object. Oh, you want that object? Well, say goodbye to that object. You reach that fork in the road with the report builder. And join reports weren't even a thing back then. So this is like 2006. I had to build this thing, and with no budget, standard reports, and custom objects were a dead end. I explored it every which way I could not get that to work, and then I finally figured out. I was playing around, and I noticed that on the opportunity page layout, you can make the account field optional. You can have an opportunity that's not connected to an account. It can be blank. Why you would want to do that, I don't know, but you can. And then I was like, wait a minute. They need this in an opportunity report. I'm just going to create a custom opportunity record type called a quota, and it's going to have its own page layout. And on the quota page layout, the account field is going to be optional, and I'm going to strip it down to the barest of bones. I'm going to get rid of all the custom fields that we've added to our sales opportunities and our renewal opportunities, because they don't matter. All quota is about is who's the quota for, how much money is it, and when is it due? And so I stripped it down to the barest bones. It's got its own record type, so I was able to give it its own sales process with just one stage quota. And so I took this thing and I was like, all right, I'm going to take a quota opportunity. I'm going to assign it to Ted. Ted's quota for this year is $1 million.
Get to it,
Jay,
Ted.
you might have a bigger account. Your quota for this year might be $2 million. Create a quota account, make you the owner. And I said, but now using a standard opportunity report, I can compare your sales opportunities to your quota opportunities side by side and see how you're doing against your quota. And maybe Ted is a new business developer. Who he's selling to might not even be an account right now. Who he is selling to in December of 2024 That company might not be a lead,
right?
But I need to attach the quota to Ted and say it's his 2024 quota. So his quota, the account field is empty. I don't care who he sells to. His quota for 2024 is $1 million. And as he closes those sales opportunities that are connected to accounts, great. But I don't care who those sales. I'm just comparing his sales. Jay, you might be an account manager. So you're actually dealing with a client. And you've got your clients are Dunkin' Donuts and Joe's Pizza Shop. Well, Dunkin' Donuts, they're a big account. Your quota for Dunkin' Donuts is 1.5 mil of that 2 million. So I create your quota, assign it to you, but in the account field, I actually put Dunkin' Donuts. So your Dunkin' Donuts quota for 2024 is 1.5 mil. Joe's Pizza Shop, they're not Dunkin' Donuts. Your quota for Joe's Pizza Shop is just 500,000 for 2024. I create a quota opportunity, attach it to Joe's Pizza Shop, assign it to you, set the dollar amount at 500K. So there's your $2 million 2024 quota, and I don't care what you sell Joe's Pizza Shop and Dunkin' Donuts, but those are your numbers, and it all works using plain vanilla opportunity reports. And I got that in my dev org. And I built a whole suite of reports with and I was like, because one of the other requirements was, well, some people are product managers. They're supposed to sell a certain amount or a certain number of a specific product. It's all built on the standard opportunity object. So you can attach products to a quota just like you can attach products to an opportunity. And you can see how many widgets Ted sold against his widget quota. And I can see how many analytics platforms you sold against your analytics platform quota. And it's all built on the standard opportunity object. And all I did was just fiddle around and see that account was optional. And I was like, holy shit, this is it. This might be it. And I got there by just playing around.
Right.
Nice. So I'm gonna definitely take some of that into account. I got a couple dev orgs created, and I need to go in there and do some more tinkering. Apparently, I'm not post up because them kids like waffles.
Pick one of it. Pick one of them. Make it your resume org and keep that baby, minty fresh. Keep that thing. Don't.
Cool.
Yeah.
Ted, anything else, my friend?
Well, I was just gonna say, I guess my one word of advice, if Steve's is to jump in and get your hands dirty and just start playing around and see what you can uncover and figure out. I would say just continue to do what you're doing, in talking to people and hearing what they have to say and learning, because I've learned 8 or 12 things from this conversation between the two of you, just in having this conversation. And so, and some of it, is kind of like that equivalent to, going, oh, wait a minute, I didn't even know that was a thing. I don't know how I'm going to use it yet, but now I want to go and play around with it and see what I can do with it and apply it to my, thing that I have going on at work. And so I'd say for me, my advice would be continue to keep talking to people, and
the community is awesome. That's it's like neck and neck, like which thing is the coolest thing Salesforce has done. I mean, free dev orgs, Trailhead, the community is just. I've never seen anything like this community. Never. I don't know of another product or thing that has this community around it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So look, thanks for the advice, guys. Look, like I said, I know we're about at time. First off, thank you, Mr. Mo, for dropping by, aka Mr. Honey Towel. Thank you. Thank you for dropping by the J Ted and the Salesforce podcast, dropping some knowledge on us, giving us some gold nuggets, and sharing those gold nuggets and your expertise with our audience. And thanks everyone for tuning in.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
And we're signing out.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Oh, Ted, look.
It did. Oh, dang it.